Fried chicken, Virginia insists. I want there to be fried chicken. I don't know how to tell you this, but there's not going to be fried chicken. I had somehow convinced Minnie to leave the food up to me while she took care of the decorations. All I had to do was make a list of food that we should have on hand and bring it to the kitchen to prepare. That was it. That should have been simple. The problem was I didn't remember seeing any food there my freshman year, and I didn't even go last year. I thought asking Virginia, the local food guru, would help, but she was being unfortunately obstinate. What about pizza? Virginia asks. Ooh, with anchovies. Otherworld creatures love that fishy smell, don't they? Donald makes a face as if he's going to be sick. They had something with mushrooms, Ellen says thoughtfully. Something with those big mushroom heads. They were stuffed with something. Tomatoes and onions, I think. Well, that's helpful, I say as I add stuffed mushrooms to the list. What else do you guys remember? Popcorn, Virginia declares. And chocolate. Ooh, lots of chocolate. Virginia, I warn as I roll my eyes. No, I think I actually remember there being dark chocolate, Donald recalls. But it was really bitter. Works for me. I shrug as I add bitter chocolate to the list. Oh, what about berries? What's in season? They all shake their heads at me. Okay, I'll ask Daniel a little later. He's in Nature Club. He should know. Wait, Daniel's in Nature Club? Virginia asks, crossing her arms over her chest. I thought that was only for Toad Hall losers. Or people with an interest in nature, Donald points out. I would be in it too if I didn't have detention every Saturday with Grabby when most of their meetings are. You know, you could just let me spend Saturday with my husband and then you can go to the meetings, I point out, but Donald just shakes his head. No, me and Grabby have a good thing going, he teases. I've got a record to maintain. 4 years of solid detention and I'm still going to make it to graduation. I'll be a legend. No, Tori is going to be the legend, Virginia says as she turns back to me. Marrying a teacher, dying in the gym, attacking a student during a test. I didn't attack anyone, I snap irritably. Actually, there were rumors that you attacked Minnie last year, Ellen points out. We all turn to look at her. And then rumors you attacked us before you went to the gym last year. And now we all saw what you did to Manuel. I didn't attack him, I point out. It was a duel. Still, in the back of my mind, I realize that I'm fostering a very unsavory reputation for myself. It wasn't my fault. He used fear on me, and the hallucination I experienced showed me Damien. I thought I was fighting him, not Manuel. We all sort of figured that, Virginia replies. We don't blame you, but no one wants to go up against you next, is all. Well, that's something I'll have to worry about later, I sigh as I get to my feet. Right now, we have the dark dance approaching, and I have to do one thing right as treasurer. So, that's all there's going to be, Virginia asks? Just berries and mushrooms and bitter chocolate? I shrug. Probably bread, too. Isn't breaking bread supposed to be traditional? For Thanksgiving, Ellen pipes up. This is Halloween, Virginia reminds me, as though I could have forgotten. There's supposed to be candy. Oh, maybe you can make little bags of candy for Grabby to pass out at the door. I try to get the mental image into my head, and I can't help but laugh at what I see. As much as I think we can use the sugar to stay up all night, I'm not looking forward to the inevitable crash afterwards. The dance is after dinner, so most people won't be eating anyway. Can there be cheese? Virginia wails after me, and I sigh as I glance down and add cheese to the list. I go and drop the list off at the kitchen before I approach Minnie in the gym. She's there, directing Jacob and the other junior boys as to how to decorate the gym. She has branches hanging from the ceiling and is being oddly specific about where she wants the leaves scattered about on the floor, which is weird, considering they were all going to be messed up when people stepped on them anyway. Oh, hi, Tori. She smiles at me as I approach, and I'm glad that at least she doesn't look afraid of me after what I did to Manuel. How are things going with the food? The list is all set with the kitchen, I tell her. I wasn't here last year, but I talked to some people. Basically, the list consists of bread, seasonal berries and fruit, local vegetables, cheese, and bitter chocolate. Is there anything else I should add to it before they start cooking? Minnie pauses as she stops to think. No, I think that should be good. The Jogyo don't cross into our world to eat, so it's just for us. Still, it's nice for us to include food that they would want to eat, to be polite. I consider mentioning that Virginia wanted pizza and chicken wings, but decide against it. Is there anything else I can help with here? Not that I could think of, Minnie says as she looks around the gym. No, I think we have it covered. Just make sure that you're casting breeze every so often tonight to keep the incense moving throughout the room. I'm not sure if Daniel knows that spell. He should, I murmur, considering I'm the one who reviewed it with him this summer. But I'll go over it with him, just in case. I head back to my room to get ready for tonight. I take a quick shower, even though I already know I'm going to need another one after the dance. Even with all the lights off and the chill autumn air moving around us, it was still hot in the gym with so many bodies moving around all at once. As I get dressed and head over to the gym, I notice that all the lights in the halls have been turned off, leaving only moonlight and the faint blue glow of magic to navigate by. Drums sound in the distance. I can feel them more than I can hear them, as their vibrations send shivers through the walls and floors. Groups of students pass by in little clusters, murmuring to each other. The whole atmosphere provokes a spirit of mystery. In the dark, it's hard to tell who is who, or even what people are talking about. I see Daniel standing in the middle of the hallway, looking for me, and I quickly pop up behind him and grab a hold of his arm. Hi there, I whisper excitedly in his ear, and I almost watch him jump out of his own skin. Tori, he scolds. Don't sneak up on me. Yeah, I say as I stand up straight. Minnie wants to remind you to cast breeze every so often to keep the incense moving. You do remember how to do that, right? Of course, Daniel replies. Grabiner would kill me if I didn't remember such a basic red magic spell. Just checking, I tease. I purposely reattach myself to his arm as we head towards the doorway. I can see Hieronymous supervising the students, and he narrows his eyes as he sees me so close to Daniel. I just stick my tongue out at him, and Hieronymous rolls his eyes. I still couldn't believe he was actually jealous of Daniel, but I let it go. If the situation was reversed, I would probably be jealous too. The darkness tightens around me as I step into the gym. My eyes struggle to gain awareness of the space around us. There are only shifting shadows and the endless rustle of unseen branches. Dead leaves crunch beneath our feet, and there is an unmistakable scent of pine hanging in the air like a thin mist. Good choice on the pine, I whisper to Daniel, and he just nods in agreement. Drums continue to beat through magical sentience, their pulse eventually being joined by music that loops around itself in a spiral pattern, tracing the passage to the other world without ever opening the gate. It doesn't stop. It doesn't start. It just flows from one note to the next. What do we do? Daniel whispers to me. You dance, I reply, gently swaying my body in time to the rhythm that permeates us. It's hard to tell who else is around me. There are only silhouettes and suggestions. Maybe the Jagyo are here, but maybe they're not. I can feel a chill autumn breeze sweep over me, curbed immediately by the warm curl of smoke from the incense. I move carefully, trying not to bump into the people around me, but the constant shifting moves me along the floor like a twig caught in a slow current. I cast breeze gently to keep the air flowing throughout the room and let my magic swirl the air around me. The night goes on, and I eventually make my way to a table set up along one of the walls that contains a large rock bowl filled with water that ripples and bubbles continuously with an enchantment to keep it flowing and fresh. There are no cups, so I have to dip my hands into the water and scoop out a mouthful before wiping my hands dry on the front of my robes. A girl suddenly cries out, and I turn my head to hear it immediately, followed by a loud thud. There's a ripple in the crowd as the audience steps back, and I immediately hear Hieronymus's voice at the height of authority. Go about your business! The doors to the gym open and close, and the students begin dancing again. I quickly make my way to the door and peek out. Both Grabiner and Potsdam are out there, arguing in front of a girl lying on her back in snake hall robes. I told you that we need to warn students of the dangers that could befall them if they try to gaze at the spirits tonight. Hieronymus snaps. Every year this happens. Every year another student risks losing their life because of their own ignorance. Oh, come now, Hieronymus. The girl is just stunned, Potsdam replies sweetly. And we haven't had any deaths yet. Our guests understand that they are young. They are still learning. If you clip their wings too early, these little birdies will never learn to fly. Doesn't matter if you clip their wings if you shove them out of the nest head first, Hieronymus mutters under his breath. Oh, come now, Potsdam says. Go back to the dance, Hieronymus. I'll take care of Miss Spirell here. Go on. Hieronymus just shakes his head as he turns around, his cape snapping behind him as he heads back inside. I quickly dart back in so he can't see me in the darkness, but it's not hard to tell where he is as he sulks and keeps watch along the back wall, away from the crowd. Slowly, I make my way over to him and creep up behind him, wrapping my arms around his waist as I rest my chin on his shoulder. Hey there, I whisper in his ear, and I feel Hieronymus freeze for a moment before he relaxes. Tori, he mutters, and I can hear the warning in his voice as I come around to face him. What? I just hate that you have to turn into Mr. Grumpy Pants now because some foolish freshman decided to sneak a peek at what's around us. Hieronymus just shakes his head. Go back to the dance, Tori. Go find your friends. There's no reason that you should spend the rest of the night sulking with me. I'm not sulking, I'm dancing, I tell him as I wrap my arms around his neck. I move my hips against his slowly, in time to the swaying beat, but Hieronymus just pretends I'm not there as he scans the crowd over my shoulder. Still, I can tell he's starting to become affected as I move closer, letting my touches last just a little bit longer than they should. Tori, Hieronymus whispers, finally looking down at me. Not here. If not here, then where? I seem to answer my own question as I bite my lip and take his hand. Come with me. To his credit, Hieronymus lets me pull him out of the gym, down the corridor just outside. I pull him into the first room I see, which appears to be a janitor's closet filled with mops and cleaning supplies. Tori, what are we doing in here? Hieronymus asks, but I don't give him time to reply as I move to kiss him, kicking the door shut with the back of one foot. It's almost pitch black in here. The only light source is from an outside lamp, which casts blue shadows along the floor. We can only barely hear the music, but the steady beating of the drums still permeate me to my core. Tori, I need to supervise the dance, Hieronymus says as he reluctantly pulls away from me. If another students know what will happen if they try, I point out. No one else is going to try again tonight. Hieronymus, please. Hieronymus seems to consider this for a moment before he kisses me suddenly, deeply, pushing me into the wall beside him, which is thankfully bare. He grabs my hands and interlocks our fingers together as he holds my hands on either side of my head, just above my shoulders. I wrap my legs around his waist as I scooch up the wall, letting him pin me there with his hips. We should make this quick, though, I whisper as I break the kiss, and he nods in agreement. I can see the way he's looking at me, though, and I can't help but grin, spurred on by a new idea. I take his hat off his head and place it on me, brushing my hair out behind me. I've never worn his hat before, and I imagine I must look ridiculous wearing it, but Hieronymus just flushes. How do I look? I ask, and Hieronymus just lets out a small growl as he starts to kiss my neck. I push my head back into the wall, spurring him on with each roll of my hips. All the dancing and grunting had been done to tease him, yes, but I couldn't deny that it had turned me on as well. Hieronymous grabs my ass with both hands, and I gasp suddenly, letting my breathy moan fill the room. Tori, I need you to be quiet, Hieronymous whispers, but I just giggle and shake my head. Hieronymous hesitates for a moment, and I'm scared he's going to stop before he lets me down from the wall and suddenly spins me around, wrapping his long arm around my waist as he presses my back into his front. So this is when it starts getting not safe for work, as I'm sure you can already imagine. As I've said before, if you want to read the not safe for work version, it is in the Archive of Our Own link below where the story is posted in its entirety if you can't wait to read the next chapter. And so I'm going to read the part after, because the dance still goes on, of course. Tori, shh, he says, but I just turn around, my pants still around my ankles as I kiss him. I feel lightheaded and dizzy, the fatigue of staying up all night mixing with the delirium of being thoroughly fucked. Was that what you wanted? Hieronymous whispers against my lips as he brushes my nose against his own. I say sleepily as I rest my cheek against his shoulder. Hieronymous just chuckles and moves me away from him so he could bend down and pick up my pants, pulling them back up to my waist. We should get back, Hieronymous says as he takes the hat off of my head and puts it back on. Your friends might be looking for you. Just one more minute, I say as I lean into his chest, and Hieronymous wraps his arms around me as he holds me to him. I always felt so safe in his arms, so happy, and as I close my eyes and let the steady drumbeat pulse through me, I almost dared to believe that I really had died in this gym. Maybe I had died and gone to heaven, and I was getting to see my life with Hieronymous play out as a result. Standing here, feeling the warmth around me despite the chill pouring in from the cool autumn outside, almost made me feel like I was floating on some ethereal current between the border of this world and the next. Tori, Hieronymous whispers in my ear, don't fall asleep on me. I blink a few times, but I still feel extremely lightheaded. Had I fallen asleep? Is the dance over? We need to stay awake until dawn. I want to receive my blessing. We could use it. Hieronymous chuckles. Let's get you back to your friends. And go eat something. It'll help you stay awake. I can't help but grin as I reluctantly pull away from him. That's probably where I'm going to find Virginia, anyway. We eventually leave the room and head back to the dance. Hieronymous takes up his position on the wall, kissing my knuckles as he lets me go rejoin the others. It almost kills me to leave him, but he's right. I can't stay along the wall with him all night. There you are, Virginia says as I approach her and the others at one of the tables. These stuffed mushroom things aren't half bad. She offers me one and I take it quickly. She's right, it's pretty good, but then again, anything would taste good to me right now. Where have you been? Virginia continues. We saw you walk in with Daniel, and then he lost sight of you, and then he came to find us. Sorry, I'm a bad date, I say as I notice Daniel in the shadow beside her. I was on a little date of my own, if you catch my drift. With your mysterious boyfriend? Daniel asks as he arches an eyebrow. I didn't see him. We left the dance for a little bit, I say. I thought my voice sounded steady, but something in my inflection betrayed me as Virginia hits my arm suddenly. Tori, you didn't! It's so dark in the room I can't see Ellen's blush, but I know it's there by the way she fiddles with her hands in front of her. I don't know what to say. They couldn't see my blush in the dark either, but I'm pretty sure my cheeks were giving off a heat wave as I bite the edge of my thumb to keep from grinning. It doesn't work. Tori, did you really? Virginia covers her face with both hands. Wow, girl. Wow. All I can say is, wow. Wait, what did you? Daniel asks, but his face flushes too as he puts two and two together for himself. Here? At the dance? No time like the present, I say, trying to sound aloof to disguise how embarrassed I feel. But here, Daniel asks, what do you think Grabby would say if he found out? What if he had walked in on you? Virginia cackles so loudly that several people nearby stop to turn to look at her as she doubles over, holding her side. It's fine. I'm fine, she says as she straightens up. Daniel shoots her a strange look and she doubles over, laughing again. Come on, Mr. Callister, you owe me a dance, I say as I take Daniel's arm, dragging him further into the room with me. I don't get it, Daniel says as we dance together. Why won't you tell me who he is? What's the big secret? Why doesn't he want to meet me? I keep telling you, you've already met him, I reply. Daniel gives me a strange look and I just shrug. The truth always comes out eventually. I'm just waiting to see how long it takes for you to put two and two together on your own. All right then, Daniel says as he grins. I take that as a challenge. He spins me around and I had to admit he was a graceful dancer. He had probably been trained to dance as a prince, and I could imagine the high society balls his parents probably had at his estate. But would I ever get to go to one of those? Heck, would I ever host one if Hieronymous did decide to assume his royal post? I could worry about that later. Surrounded by friends and mysteries, I danced the night away.